They began in garages, dorm rooms, and small rented offices. Today, they command market valuations larger than the GDP of entire nations. You don't vote for them, you don't see their logos on ballots, and yet their decisions shape elections, economies, wars, and even how you perceive reality itself. Scroll, search, stream, shop, message. Every tap feels personal, individual, free. But behind that seamless experience lies something far more powerful than apps or algorithms. The real power behind the world's tech giants is not innovation alone. It is infrastructure, it is scale, it is control over the digital arteries through which modern life flows. And once a company controls the arteries, it doesn't just participate in the economy, it begins to define it.
The story begins long before smartphones and social media. After World War II, the United States invested heavily in science and defense research. Early computing projects were funded by government contracts. The Internet itself grew out of ARPANET, a Defense Department initiative designed to ensure communication resilience during nuclear conflict. Technology was born not just from entrepreneurship, but from state-backed experimentation. In the 1990s, the commercialization of the Internet unlocked unprecedented opportunity. A new digital frontier emerged, lightly regulated and rapidly expanding. Venture capital flooded into startups. Markets rewarded growth over profit. Companies like Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon, and later Facebook built platforms that seemed revolutionary but followed a similar logic: capture users first, monetize later. The environment was ideal. Globalization expanded supply chains. Financial liberalization provided capital. Governments encouraged innovation with minimal interference. What began as software companies evolved into ecosystems. The first major turning point was the platform shift. Search engines didn't just index the web, they became gateways to information. Online marketplaces didn't just sell goods, they restructured retail logistics. Social networks didn't just connect friends, they reorganized attention itself. The second turning point came with mobile computing. The smartphone centralized digital life. App stores became gatekeepers. Operating systems determined who could compete and who could not. Then came data. Vast quantities of user behavior, clicks, purchases, locations, preferences were transformed into predictive systems. Data was not simply collected, it became a strategic asset. Another critical moment arrived during the 2008 financial crisis. While traditional industries struggled, technology firms expanded. Cheap capital, low interest rates, and investor appetite fueled rapid growth. By the 2010s, these companies were not merely innovators, they were among the largest corporations in history by market capitalization. Their influence extended beyond products into cloud infrastructure, digital advertising, artificial intelligence, and defense contracts. The final shift came during the COVID-19 pandemic. As physical economies shut down, digital platforms became essential. Remote work relied on cloud servers, e-commerce replaced retail, social media became primary communication channels. What had been dominant became indispensable.
The real power behind tech giants rests on four pillars: network effects, data concentration, capital dominance, and regulatory asymmetry. Network effects create self-reinforcing growth. The more users a platform has, the more valuable it becomes. Competitors face enormous barriers because users are locked into ecosystems through contacts, content, and convenience. Data concentration amplifies this advantage. With billions of users, tech firms train algorithms that improve products, personalize advertising, and predict behavior. Smaller firms cannot replicate this scale. Capital dominance reinforces expansion. Technology companies hold enormous cash reserves and access to global capital markets.
They acquire emerging competitors before they mature. Venture ecosystems often build startups with acquisition as the intended exit. Regulatory asymmetry completes the structure. Technology evolved faster than legislation. Antitrust frameworks built for railroads and oil struggled to address digital monopolies. Jurisdictional fragmentation made oversight complex. Together, these mechanisms create structural power, not simply corporate success. Control over cloud infrastructure means governments rely on private servers. Control over app stores means software developers depend on platform rules. Control over digital advertising means media industries depend on algorithmic visibility. This is not traditional monopoly power. It is systemic leverage embedded in everyday life.
Today, tech giants sit at the intersection of geopolitics and economics. Semiconductors have become strategic assets. Artificial intelligence research shapes military planning. Data governance influences diplomatic tensions between the United States, Europe, and China. Governments increasingly confront a dilemma: regulate too aggressively and risk stifling innovation, regulate too lightly and risk surrendering sovereignty over digital infrastructure. Antitrust investigations expand, data privacy laws tighten, export controls on advanced chips reshape global supply chains. Yet, despite mounting scrutiny, the structural advantages remain. Cloud computing continues to centralize. AI models require immense datasets and computational power, resources concentrated among a few firms. For individuals, dependence grows quietly. Work, communication, commerce, entertainment, navigation, almost every daily function flows through systems owned by a handful of corporations. The influence is subtle but profound. Algorithms shape information exposure, platform policies affect political discourse, recommendation systems influence consumption and belief formation. Power no longer always looks like command, it looks like code.
The real power behind the world's tech giants is not merely technological brilliance, it is structural integration. They do not govern through decrees, they govern through defaults, through design choices, through infrastructure that becomes so embedded it feels natural. History shows that power concentrates where systems centralize. Railroads centralized transport, oil centralized energy, banks centralized capital. Today, technology centralizes information and connectivity. The question facing societies is not whether innovation should be restrained. Innovation drives growth, communication, and opportunity. The deeper question is how to balance dynamism with accountability. How to ensure that infrastructure serving billions remains aligned with public interest. Because once a system becomes indispensable, reform becomes difficult. And when reform becomes difficult, power becomes durable. The tech giants did not seize authority. They built systems too efficient to ignore. And in doing so, they discovered the quietest form of dominance, becoming the ground on which everyone else stands.